another Arabic word, Al Jazeera. So they say Al Jazeeras. And you go around to the town of Al Jazeeras, and it is from there you can catch the train that will take you up to Cordoba. So this is one of the fast ways to go. Also, you can catch a boat over there which will take you to Morocco, to Tanja. And I eventually came back down and took the boat from there, Al Jazeeras, and we went to Tanja, and then from there into Morocco. So after taking the train and getting off in Cordoba, now we're coming to the city itself, and this is the river going out there, Cualdiva, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, if anybody speaks Spanish. Huh? Yeah, Cordoba is the city, but Cualdiva, I think it's Cualdiva River. Anyhow, this is also like it's a Muslim name, the name of the river. It's dry. It was a dry season, but you can see the tower that's there. That's a Moorish. That's Muslim also. You can see the architecture. And this is also right across the bridge from the main city. And this is a Muslim tower that was there. And a man by the name of Roger Garudi, who's a person who had accepted Islam, he was given a large grant. And so he has a display inside of this tower now, which is a very interesting display. And this is from the roof of the tower. And you can see in the middle an aqueduct. You can see the old, how they move the water. A water wheel. That's on the top of the tower too. So that takes you across. And in the middle there, the big building in the middle is the cathedral, which used to be El Jami'. This was the Jami' main mosque in Cordoba, which was originally built by Abdurrahman al-Saqr. You know, he's the first major Khalifa who was in the area there. So as you're going across the bridge, this is like some victory symbol that they were using there to stand for the conquest. Now it's interesting when you're in Cordoba and many of these cities, you know, to note the streets there. Now those of you who are from Muslim countries, it's like you're in Morocco, and you know, you could be in a lot of places. I mean, I remember being in a city called Lamu, which is in Kenya, right, the Swahili coast. It's exactly like this. It's the same type of narrow streets and the way that the buildings are built. Because the buildings are built in such a way, the emphasis is not placed on the street. The emphasis is inside the building. Because the Muslim emphasis is that your home would have a big courtyard where your family can be, you know, inside there and relax themselves, and have a courtyard and have everything they want right inside the house complex itself. And now we're coming to the cathedral. And when the Spanish took over, they converted this from the main Jamiat mosque, which was probably the largest mosque in Europe at the time. They converted it to a cathedral. This is a shot from inside the courtyard of the cathedral. Now you can see it's a little dark, but this is something left there on the wall where you can see totally the Islamic doorway and the designs and everything. It's still there, left intact. This is one that was left intact. But this is how they convert it. The door is there, and then you look on the top and you'll start to see other types of sculpturing, and they add on to it. So this is what they did in terms of making the conversion. So you find this all over the structure itself. And now this is inside. And from what I was reading in one tract, that the people who took this place, they actually wanted to destroy everything, including the columns and everything. But the king at the time had some appreciation for architecture, and he said, do not destroy the columns. So the columns are still there. That's the Islamic style column. But you see, if you look down on the bottom there, you see the squares on the bottom? These are graves. The aristocrats were given portions of the cathedral to bury their family members in it. So these are graves, and all throughout it you have sections where it has graves, and they put gargoyles and all types of creatures and things on the wall, and statues and images. And unfortunately, this is really, for us, it's really defacing a mosque, because the graves are not supposed to be inside of the masjid. And you're not supposed to have statues and pictures and things inside of your masjid also. Now this is the main mihrab. And, you know, it really hurt me because he's dealing with the verses, you know, Huwa Allahu alladhi la ilaha illa huwa alimul ghaybi wa shahada. And then at the end it says, Subhanallahi amma yushrikun. Allah is glorified and above all that they associate with Him. And in shirk is all inside this place. Polytheism is all in the place, man. And it really hurt to read those verses, you know. And there was a tour guide who had a group of Spanish people, and they were touring, and so I asked one of the brothers who was with me, it was an Andalusian Muslim who was taking me around. So I asked the brother, I said, stand in the crowd and just listen, tell me what he's saying to them. So he stood in the crowd, and he came back and he said, what they say is this is the mihrab, and the Muslims believe that Muhammad lives in the mihrab. And so if you do anything that, you know, if you do any evil or do anything, he will come out and get you. That's what he was saying, man. Subhanallah. So it's really unfortunate, you know, what is going on. And they will not let you make salat there. Like some brothers want to make 2 rakats, they will stop you. They'll pull you out of salat. And I'm God. Well, you cannot pray inside that building. The ceiling right next to the mihrab is still, the Islamic design is still there. Now this is Madinah al-Zahra, and the Khalifa al-Nasir. This is one of the later Khalifates in the Umayyad period after Abdurrahman al-Saqqa. And this is when they started to get corrupt. He built a city outside of Cordoba. And he built it to keep his own capital there and to keep his power. He did not want to be associated with the people in Cordoba itself. So he built this beautiful city outside there. And they say it was one of the wonders of the world at the time. And you know, he had like a man-made lake, and he had a sitting place in the middle of the lake with pearls and gems and water falling all around him, and all types of wonders were inside of this place. But you know, they brought a sheikh one time from North Africa. He was considered to be known for what they call zuhud in Arabic, zuhud, which means that, you know, you're not into the material world. He was austere. And when the sheikh came here and saw this, he said in a poem, O Madinah al-Zahra, you know, every house in Andalusia has contributed to your building, and one day you will help to build every house in Andalusia. And sure enough, within a few weeks after the sheikh made this prediction, there was an internal revolt that went on, and it was destroyed. And the people took all the riches. They couldn't take it anymore, because this is when the Muslims, that they have become corrupt, man. And so all that's left now of the city is the ruins. But you can see the complicated rooms and waterways and a number of things that are still left in the ruins. You always see these channels. This is how they used to channel their water in. They had an interesting system. And the channel goes from up to down. It's like built in such a way that gravity carries the water. It carries it right in to your apartment. Some of the ruins, Madinah al-Zahra. This would have been his main court. They said was in this area. Now this is an artist's conception of the Khalifa himself, and there are European dignitaries who are visiting the court of what, you know, Madinah al-Zahra could have looked like actually when the Khalifa al-Nasir was there. Now, what is interesting, by the mercy of Allah, that after centuries, after the Inquisition, and after resistance continued in Granada for a long time, they have found now that the people maintain their faith. And there's actually what they call Ajami script, which is Spanish. It is a dialect of Spanish written in Arabic. And so they did what we call tafsir, explanations of Quran, hadith, a number of books in this Arabic script, which is actually Spanish language. And they're finding them now in excavations underneath houses and buildings. They're bringing these scripts up. And there's a Dr. Ali Katani who's written a book in Arabic, in Bi'at al-Islam fil Andalus. And he is actually bringing these things to the surface. And it's very interesting to see this script being used. So now what has happened, when the Spanish government allowed freedom of religion, the Andalusian people, and there was nationalism. So each province looked into its history. If you're from Aragon, or you're from Valencia, or Castilla, wherever you're from, everybody looked at their own province. What is my history? So the Andalusian people found that they were Muslims. They didn't even know it. But when they really started looking, they found that they're probably descendants of Muslims. So now there are hundreds of them who are accepting Islam. And many of them are former members of the Communist Party. So they're like really good organizers. Really good organizers, man. They need some spirituality though, but they're really good organizers. And so they have organized here, and one of the brothers was there in this place. This is a restaurant. So it's a restaurant, you see, al-halal, maqan, mat'am. So it's a restaurant and coffee house. And so the Spanish people come in here, and the Spanish people really like it. And they sell couscous and hummus and many different, Arabic Muslim foods. And you go inside, and they also give you dawah. They give you like the message of Islam, and it's a very nice place inside here. This is the Al-Jama'ah Islamiyya bil Andalus. This is the Ikhwa there. That's how it looks on the inside. It's kind of a dark shot. It's not so clear, but this is what it looks like. Now as you go along, another miracle, I would say, is now the Muslims have their own jamia, their own mosque again, right down the street from the cathedral. So as you turn the corner in this small street, that's what you look at. And you look up the top, you can see it there. This is the masjid there. And all this is the complex where the Muslims have re-established themselves there in Cordoba. So this is the Masjid al-Andalus, and also it has International Islamic University. International Islamic University. And if there's anybody who's interested in contacting the Islamic University there, and they have some courses and they can teach you Spanish, and they have scholars coming from Morocco who are teaching there also. They opened up in 1995 in the spring, in the fall. Anybody who's interested in that, I have a little brochure with me, which I can leave with Hasib and the brothers and sisters here. If anybody's interested in this, you can contact there. You can even go to school there in Cordoba. It's an international Islamic university. So this is the masjid there, and I went to we had Jumu'ah Salat, and the Khatib gave the khutbah in Arabic and Spanish. Arabic and Spanish. That's the masjid now. Alhamdulillah. And they built it like a scale model of what the old Cordoba one was too. It's very small, but alhamdulillah, it's really well done. It's well done. They really use the space well there. They economize on the space. Now this is some shots, this is where the university is, where the classes are and dormitories and whatnot there. That's another shot on the inside with the university. And the flag they're using actually is the flag used by the Muslim leaders in Al-Andalus. وَلَا غَالِبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. That's what they used to say. There is no conqueror or no irresistible force except for Allah. And when you go to Qasr al-Hamra, Al-Hambra, and many of the places, you will find this written all over the place. وَلَا غَالِبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. That was their theme in Andalusia. So, and that now is the flag. The brothers and sisters have resurrected the flag. This is a very significant move that they're making, actually. It's very significant. Now going on from Cordoba now, these are just a few shots that I'm able to show you here because of time. Now as you go south, Granada. And Granada was the last stronghold of Islam. And I think part of the reason why Granada was able to resist is not just because the Muslims had some special army or something down there. It is because it is naturally protected by the mountains. It is protected by mountains on all sides, and it goes right down to the sea. And so you can see in the back, I think I don't know if it's a Sierra Nevada, I don't know if it's Sierra Nevada, but it's a big mountain range there. Look, it's snow on the top of it. So all you got to do is guard the mountain pass. And so they were able to hold off Ferdinand and Isabella for like even, I think it was about 150 years more than the other parts of Andalusia. So Granada was the last place, and in 1492, Abu Abdullah, known as Boabdil, he surrendered Granada. And what was sad is that in his treaty, and you can see written copies of the treaty, it was said that as long as you pay your taxes and you accept Ferdinand and Isabella as your ruler, you can have your mosques, your women will be honored, your madrasas will continue. And within 20 years, they destroyed all the mosques, raped the women, and ruined the schools totally. And that was really sad. And they even had to go back in the mountains again and resist. And they resisted for another 100 years after that. But they were finally put down, and many of them went across and they settled in Morocco, in Libya, in Tunisia, in Cairo, Egypt, even as far as Sarajevo, Bosnia, which was another cosmopolitan place. There were some Andalusians that made it all the way to Bosnia, so that they were like scattered all over the place. And probably a lot of them also came to America on the ships. So this is going now to Alhambra Palace. And they didn't destroy this. I guess it was so beautiful that they didn't destroy this. But they destroyed the other masjids and places in the city. Now when you're coming in, you can see the imposing size of these doors and everything. And this is the fortress part. They had a military part on the outside to defend them. Look at the size of this wall, man. See that doorway there? Thick wall they made. As you look from the top down, this is where they kept their ammunition, and this is the military section where they would defend it against people who are attacking. Then as you go inside, you're coming to the Court of the Lions, and this is one of the famous places inside. It's an amazing building. It's an amazing building. You always find water. Water was all around the place, and that is because Muslims have a preoccupation with tahara, with purification. And so water is there, and always you're finding the water being used, and then they had ways of running it in and running it out. Now, when you look at this, you also see how they have influenced Spanish architecture. And so if you go to California, even buildings here, you can still, right, especially in Miami, look at some of the houses, right, how the roofs on the houses, the red roof, it's got those like tiles, that's from them, man. It's Muslims. This is the legacy.
There's a hotel here, very big hotel, historic, built in the 20s. It's called the Biltmore Hotel. It's actually got parts that are exact copies.
The Biltmore?
The Biltmore Hotel.
Biltmore Hotel. If you go to check which part of Miami is that in? It's right around here.
Exact copies of it.
The brother who was with me, I'm on the right, and is a Portuguese brother. He left from, he was sent by the Jama'ah in Cordoba to take me to Granada. And so he's on the left there. He's originally Portuguese, he accepted Islam, and he's one of the students in the university there. And he's doing very well. He's learning Arabic, and he's doing very well in his studies now. This is a little niche where you keep your utensils and whatnot, and you find these things all over. Everything has this beautiful calligraphy and artwork all over the place. It's really amazing, man. Now, this is a shot, it shows like the bedrooms, places where they would, bedrooms and little niches. It's everything. It's a maze. It's a maze of rooms. And this is a special part that I really used to like this picture here. I had this picture when I was in Medina, and I always kept this picture with me, and I finally made it to where this picture was. This is the Court of the Lions. See the water in the middle? They're moving the water around. I mean, part of this also shows, actually, to be honest, part of this thing was, it's a little bit too heavy. Part of it is, I mean, they want paradise on earth, man. You know, and so like, this is part of the reason why they went down. Because they went too far. I mean, it shows how artistic they were, right? But really, I mean, a Muslim is supposed to want Jannah, like, you're supposed to want paradise, man. They, you know, this is like, you know, you're in this place, you think you're in paradise. And somebody wanted to be in paradise before they died, actually, when they built this place. But as you go outside, you move to another section. I think it took us about 4 hours to walk through this place. 4 hours. And we didn't see it all. It's an amazing complex. So you look, they have their olives growing there and oranges. They like especially citrus fruits there. You know, oranges grow really well in Spain and Portugal. And the word Portugal is, the Arabic word for orange is Portugal. So Portugal, Portugal. Out of the Portugal, the land of the oranges. And up until now, you get really good oranges that come from Spain and from Portugal. This is, as you're walking along, you see these, this is how the water flows. Where the darkness is, you see it's going up to down, and this is how they build it. So right there, as you walk by that, you hear the water trickling. So the water's moving all the time inside of the city. It's amazing waterworks. And that's another section. Hacienda. Hacienda. All of these things comes from this. You know, we used to watch Zorro. You know Zorro? The Z. All that chivalry, riding on the horse, and all that, the hacienda and the nobility. That's all from Islam, man. It's all from Islam. This is what they call the summer section, when they wanted to go and relax, especially in the nice weather. So this is another section altogether. It's a really beautiful section too. He wanted it, Tajri, you know, Tajri min tahtihi al-anhar, and you know, Jannah, man. He wanted Jannah and Aden. He wanted paradise, man. And this is the Islamic community in Spain, Al-Jama'ah Islamiyya fi España. And that is in Granada, one of the places in Granada. And this, I want to show Imam Siraj Wahaj. I got this for him. This is Masjid Taqwa. You know, Imam Siraj is the Imam of Masjid Taqwa in Brooklyn. I said to the Imam, this is your chapter in Granada. It's Mesquita at Taqwa. But you see the Arabic, Masjid at Taqwa. So that's Masjid Taqwa Granada branch. Now we left Granada, and we took a bus and went down by the coastline there, and now we're crossing from Algeciras. We crossed over to Tanja. This is North Africa you're looking at, and so you will find the Islamic cities are made like this. This is going close to Tangiers. This is the Straits of Gibraltar. Now went to Rabat, and then from there to Marrakesh. I have just a few shots here of Morocco. But again, you can see the continuity in terms of the buildings in Morocco and in Spain. Because, you know, the people who were controlling Spain were also controlling North Africa, and they were controlling West Africa. So you will find also in Senegal and other places the same type of architecture. There was actually an interchange going on between Senegal, West Africa, North Africa, and Spain. They were constantly moving back and forth, the people, called the Moors. And this is the old-time Cadillacs there near the wall of the camels in Marrakesh. What is interesting about the city there too, it's the red city, because they use the local sand. It's like a reddish color. So the whole of Marrakesh is made from this red clay there. Very interesting. Now this type of structure here, you see the way they make the tower there. So the minarets in this structure, you find these, this is how it was done in Spain, and all over North Africa, and in Senegal also, it's this minaret type. And I was surprised because when I went to speak at the University of Texas, the main center is like that, man. They took the same one and put it in the University of Texas. And Stanford too? Stanford too. And the Biltmore. That's where it comes from. So that's part of your legacy right there, architecture. And this is a masjid there in Marrakesh. Now this one was built by Al-Murabitun. And the Murabitun were not into being too fancy. But they have a way of doing the architecture. It's simple, but it's still very artistically done. You know, it's got flavor to it. But it's not as overly ornate as some of the other people. Yeah. And this one was built by Al-Muwahhidun. That's the group that came after Al-Murabitun. They would say Al-Muhades. In English they say Al-Muhades. And they call Al-Murabitun Al-Muravids. So Al-Muwahhidun, this was a place that was built by them. It was a training center, and also it's an irrigation center. And they brought the water in. There's a huge lake there, man-made lake. And according to what they were telling us, what they would do, the Berbers were coming off the desert. And when you're in the desert, the only water you have, you drink that water. So they don't know how to swim. And they were bringing recruits across the Straits of Gibraltar to go to Spain. So they bring you here and they teach you how to swim. So this is like the first swimming pools, like in a sense, or this old swimming pool. You take your swimming lessons in there, get prepared, for struggle, and then they take you up north to the Straits of Gibraltar because you got to cross the straits, man. If you can't swim, if you're from the desert, and you go across the straits, man, you're gonna have a problem, man, unless you learn how to swim. So Al-Muwahhidun were using this as a and also it irrigates the land around there. There are olive groves and date palms, and many different fruits are growing there. It's an irrigation center. Also, it's a very rich culture there in Marrakesh. The kufis and caps and different types of work being done by the women there. This marketplace is a really nice marketplace, man. For those of you into marketplaces, there's a lot of stuff here, man. You could stay here all day. And this is also another open market. And I was there in the springtime. And they have a special springtime season. It's like everybody from all over the country, all the young people come to Marrakesh in the spring. It's like a spring break, like we would call spring break. So they come here for the spring break. And in this marketplace at night, it's really nice at nighttime, because at nighttime the lights are on and they're making like kebabs, like we call burgers like kebabs, and different samosa and foods, and couscous and barbecue, and it's really nice at night. Cane juice. And people are just like talking, mingling with each other, and it's a nice atmosphere there in the evening. But they're also known for magic. The Marrakesh people, they have some dangerous voodoo, right? A Sahara, and the Sahara are there in Marrakesh, and this is the Moroccans told me, man. They have the Sahara, and this is an amazing shot here, right? This is one of the Sahara. This is the Sahara. These are live snakes, man. So I talked to him in Arabic. I said, "What you got? What do you got, man?" So he said he pulled these snakes out, man. You see the snakes? They're alive. And he pulls them out to me, and he shows me the thing, and he's carrying on and trying to scare me. Then afterwards he puts his hand out and says, "Yalla, hatsa fulus. Give me some money." I said, "Brother, I'm not giving you no money, man, for pulling out no snake." Then he starts cursing me. "May your children hate you," and all this stuff. Astaghfirullah. He's cursing me, man. I said, "Look, I'm not afraid of you, man. I'm afraid of Allah, man. I'm not afraid of you." But some people would be really scared if this guy is like an Obeah man or a voodoo man. They'd be really scared of his curse, like, right? It's a dangerous guy. Look at him. It's real character, man. This is another good shot, too. This is another character here. This is a water carrier. Now, right, before 7-Up, and Coca-Cola. And before ice cubes, this man was a very important person, you know.
True, that's all cities.
That's right, in all the Muslim cities, because he carries water. And he flavors the water. You get like rose water, and you know, so he was like the walking 7-Up Coca-Cola man. And so he still maintains the traditional dress there. And it's very interesting, his dress. Then we went overland and we went to Fez. And Fez. This is also another very historic town. And one of the centers of Islamic culture. One of the famous centers of learning and knowledge in the Muslim world. It was in the city of Fez. And that's from the mountain overlooking Fez. You look right down into the city itself. Now you see the design now is a little bit different here. And this wall is famous. On one side it's blue, on the other side it's green. And so there's different sections of Fez. And there are different quarters. And the people know the quarters and the sections of Fez. There are different people. There are woodworking people living in one section, silversmiths in the other section, Quran readers, you know, different types of people living in different sections of Fez. And again, you see the streets, you think of Spain, right? And that street there. And that's your taxi right there. That's the taxi. You have to ride donkey. You can't ride any cars in Fez. Because the streets are too narrow, right? Which is good, because there's no pollution in the things that the automobiles build. If any of you know Kenya, Lamu, the city of Lamu is just like this, off the coast of Kenya. It's an island. It's exactly like this. This is the old madrasa, Kirawan. This is one of the old centers of learning in Fez. And it's just for display now, because it's very old. But you can see the architecture is still there. And it used to be a dormitory and school where the students would stay, studying Islamic studies. This is now the modern architecture. This is part of the King's Palace in Fez. And so he's taking the old style and putting the modern thing on now. And this is one of the famous masjids there also, in Fez. The Moroccan flavor. That's where you make your wudu. You make your ablution there before the prayers in that place there. And this is another masjid in Rabat. This is in Rabat. And I took this one because it's a classical mosque. I mean, they have taken different forms of those of you who are into architecture and geometric design. This is a classical mosque because they've taken the Andalusian style and the Moroccan style, and this is the heights. This is like the heights of a lot of their design in this particular mosque. That's the inside. The mihrab is there where the imam stands, is right there. Now look at the work they do on the walls. It's amazing. It's an amazing set of work. There's Arabic writing there and everything. Now those of you into geometrical designs and whatnot, you can look into this. You can spend a long time looking in, and you can see how they move around the objects, and you get lost inside of this. And the six-pointed star, actually the Star of David, was used there. It was not a symbol of Zionism or anything. It was just, actually they say, from after the time of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, that many of the tribes of Israel migrated to North Africa. And so they have an old tradition in the desert area and in Morocco, a very old tradition. So the Star of David is one of their normal symbols. And you find it in their hats and a lot of the things. But it does not have a political meaning at that point in time. Geometrical, just geometrical. This is the same mosque showing the place for ablution. Again, when you see the roof, then you can see a lot of the roofs in the houses here in Miami and whatnot. The style of building the roof. And this is a person, sorry the slide is backwards, but this is one of the people, the Berbers off the desert. That this is what the Murabitun look like. That's what they look like, man. Tariq ibn Ziyad and whatnot. And they cover their faces in the desert because the sand and whatnot. And boy, I got the slide backwards. This is a slide of Mansa Musa. Maybe I'll try to fix that. Here it says the great African king Mansa Musa, king of medieval Mali, but also popularly known as king of the Moors. This map is taken from a European galley of the 1600s. This African ruled in the 1300s. The empire of Mali was larger than all of the states of Western Europe combined. It dwarfed the Holy Roman Empire. So this was a map that was made by the Europeans actually, when they were because gold was coming out of West Africa. This is why they even called gold guineas. The word guinea was originally being used. It's coming out of West Africa. And this is the map I was talking about with Barry Fell. Sorry, it's I got it backwards. I just had changed it. But this is the map, the old map that they found, which shows you just turn around your eyes, but it shows Hudson Bay in Panama. It's an early map of America. Okay. Okay. Any questions anybody has about anything? Okay, so we want to thank you for your patience, and inshallah, hope to see you again soon. And those of you who have come, those non-Muslims, we want to invite you to continue to come to the Islam Awareness Week. There's some other very good speakers who will be here, Imam Siraj Wahaj, and also, what's the other brother's name? Raphael. Raphael is a very interesting Spanish-speaking person who is very, very, spirited speaker. So if you can see him, you really benefit from his approach. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وصلى الله تعالى على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Peace be upon you and have a safe journey home.
You have rights that women in this country never dreamed of until perhaps this generation.
He said, Prophet Muhammad, do not kill civilians.
Virgin Mary is revered in the Quran. She works miracles.
Prophets, according to the Quran, were all one brotherhood.
Because if you add something that is not essential, you're going to draw them away from the religion.